Hey guys, it is Mr. Gallion. I will start out by apologizing. I kind of thought I was going to be posting all kinds of videos over the summer, but frankly, this has been an exhausting summer. I don't know how it's been for you, but for me, there's a lot of mental clutter going on, like just a lot of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. If you were looking forward to a lot of these, you haven't seen them, and I apologize for that. So I want to talk about just a couple things, and I don't plan on this being super long, but I never do, and sometimes they go long. I want to talk about a couple things regarding the coronavirus and maybe particularly touching on school. I'm not going to make any new announcements about school because some public stuff has already been made available. There's an email that went out, which includes a video where Mr. Dillard talked about, what it could look like, and still there's the issue that things may change between now and August. So hang in there and be really flexible. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is this is in no particular order except for kind of how I have been thinking about these things. The first thing is masks. There's a lot of crazy talk out there right now about masks. Why is it that they used to say don't wear a mask and now they're saying do wear masks, and do we have to wear masks and why do we have to wear masks and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to let's give you a really quick overview. So one of the most frustrating things that I've heard is I'm not going to wear a mask because, Dr. Fauci and the World Health Organization and all these guys way back when said don't wear masks. And now they're saying wear masks. So who do I believe? Well, first of all, guys, you have to be the kind of person who is willing to change your mind and even your recommendations to other people when you get new information. Okay? That's what's going on here. Right? Like if you are a person who is pro-gun control or anti-gun control, you want people on your side. You want people to agree with you. And so you want people to change their minds, right? So masks is kind of how this works. When this outbreak first started, there were a lot of people running out and wearing masks who were perfectly healthy. And the advice was don't do that because masks aren't for healthy people normally, right? Masks don't keep the germs from getting in you. Masks keep a sick person from spreading disease. That's how it is with the flu. That's how it is with lots of things, okay? Well, then we found out, as science did more research into the coronavirus, we found out that actually there are a lot of people who are spreading this thing before they even know that they're sick. In fact, you can be sick for up to 2 weeks. In other words, you've got the virus, but you have no symptoms at all. And in fact, you are the most contagious in the days just before you start showing symptoms. So before the sore throat, before the loss of smell, before the aches and body pains and all that stuff, but the breathing issues. So when we realized that potentially anybody out there could be a carrier and not know it, that's when they said, well, wait a minute, if masks are primarily to keep germs close to somebody who's sick or who could potentially be sick, maybe we need to start telling everybody, because everybody possibly could be sick, that you should wear a mask. So is it true that wearing your typical surgical mask is going to prevent you from other people's germs? Not a lot. It will some. It's better than nothing, but it's not great. Think about it like if you take a hose or a squirt gun to a screen door, it's going to stop some of the water, but some of the water is going to get through, right? And it gets through the screen door. So now, if somebody's sick and they're wearing a mask and they cough, or even if they're breathing or talking or whatever, the distance that those droplets, which are what primarily they think carry the virus, it limits how far those things are going to get out of your mouth. So if you're in school, for example, and everybody's wearing masks, and you've got somebody who's, everybody feels healthy, they're in school, everything's great, but actually, 2 or 3 people in a classroom have the virus and they cough, that mask keeps it much, much, much closer. And then the other people wearing masks, it does give them a little bit of protection. Now, if you have an N95 mask, without a vent, I'll talk about that in a second, without a vent, that actually does protect you and other people for the same reason. When I teach, I'm worried because I'm literally facing, 20 people, hopefully not that many. It'll probably be a reduced class size for a good chunk of the year, facing a whole bunch of people who are breathing my direction. Okay, so I plan on wearing a mask and a face shield for 2 reasons. One is the mask prevents me from breathing out any infected droplets, and the face shield will help reduce the amount of viral load that might be coming at me. I know it's a lot, and that's goofy, and nobody wants to show up at school on their first day and see a teacher who's wearing a face shield and a mask. I mean, it's like being taught by Darth Vader. But if my options are have no job or go to school, I'm probably going to go to school, right? I mean, I could look for another job. I've actually thought about it because this is kind of scary stuff, frankly. I can't imagine what else I'd do, and I'd hate leaving teaching, but if I'm going to leave teaching, this is the year. I'm just gonna tell you, right? Because there's a lot being asked of us, and it's gonna be a rough year for everybody. It just is. So if I wear a face shield, that helps some of the droplets that might be still floating around in the air from coming at me, and that mask keeps me from expelling my droplets. So there you go. So y'all, people will say masks don't work. In fact, some of the masks, I keep hearing this rumor, I haven't actually looked, that some of the sides of like surgical mask boxes say not for coronavirus protection or whatever. And yeah, it's so you can't wear a mask and then sue the people because you got the coronavirus, right? That's not really what it's for. It's to keep somebody who might have it from spreading it. So, a couple issues, right? Number one, is this something that you have to do? Well, right now, nobody's saying you have to do it. Although at school, it looks like schools in Greenville County, including our school, because of the advice of DHEC and the CDC, will be requiring masks for teachers, for students, for everybody, which is, it's a lot, okay? It just is. Now, should you get all upset about that? Is that limiting your freedoms? Well, yeah, it's limiting your freedom. Okay, it's limiting your freedom. But the United States has always operated on this idea that we have to limit some of your freedoms so that everybody can be free. And you say, what do you mean? Well, I can buy a gun and I can shoot a gun, but I can't shoot it just anywhere I want to. If I shoot it into your house, I can go to jail, right? I get in trouble. That limits my freedom so that the person next door can enjoy life, right? I have freedom of speech, but there are some things like I can't go to a movie theater. I mean, not right now, I can't go to one at all, but I can't go to a movie theater under normal circumstances. And if I'm bored, get up and yell fire if there's no fire. Right? Because there could be a stampede, people could get injured. I would actually go to jail if I did that, and I can't claim that's a violation of my freedom of speech, because my freedom of speech might actually injure somebody else's right to live their life, okay? So I put this mask thing very firmly in there, okay? That's the first thing about masks. Secondly, nobody's like, we need to wear masks for the rest of all time, okay? The hope is that there will be a vaccine, and y'all, I know some of you don't like vaccines, but I'm just going to tell you on the front end, a vaccine is the way out of this. It's pretty much the only way out. We can talk about this down the road, but here's one of the big concerns about the coronavirus. Most coronaviruses, you end up having immunity from that coronavirus for 6 months to maybe 2 years if you're lucky. Okay, so you say, well, I'll just get the coronavirus and I'll survive it, hopefully, fingers crossed, and then I won't get it again. Well, we don't actually know if that's the case because nobody's had the coronavirus for more than a year, right? Certainly not 2 years. It's a new thing. There have been coronaviruses, other types in the same family that have been out there, but this is a whole new thing. So we don't know what's going to happen in 2 years, okay? So on top of that, let's say that some people say herd immunity. In other words, if you get about anywhere between, I've heard numbers between 50% and 80% of the population that gets it, then the virus can't spread as rapidly. It pretty much slows down and it protects the people that haven't gotten it yet. Some people say that's our way out. But the problem is the highest estimate that I've seen anybody say we've got so far for the coronavirus is 10% of the population may have been infected. And that's really in some of the most infected places like New York. Here in Greenville County, it's more like 1%, okay? Now, that might seem super, super low, but it is. But think about this. We've been in this for months and months and months and got 1%, okay? So how long is it going to take to hit 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%? Well, first of all, it may not take as long as you think. I will say that. Because the way exponential growth works is that when you get to 1% and then you double it, you're at 2, and then 4, and then 8, and 16, and 32. You just multiply it out, see how long it takes you to get to 100%. It doesn't take long at all, okay? So anyway, that's a concern. If you don't get herd immunity, though, in a relatively short period, let's say within the period that it takes before somebody can be reinfected with the virus, then you're back to square one. That's kind of scary. In other words, the only real way out of this that I see, and I'm not an epidemiologist, so, whatever, is to get a vaccine and to make sure that lots and lots of people take it. And I do think it ought to be voluntary, but also I think you should get it. I know that that's not a totally popular thing in some circles, but honestly, if not everybody gets it, you might say, well, only the people who don't get it are going to be at risk. That's not entirely true, because there are a lot of vaccines out there, like the flu vaccine is, in a really good year, like 60% effective. So if the coronavirus vaccine is, let's say it's 70% effective, 75% effective, that still means that 1 out of 4 people who get it could still be exposed to the virus and that it would continue to spread. And that's not even including the people who chose not to get it at all. Y'all, there's some stuff that's a little bit scary out here, but and I'm not going to talk about more in this video because I hit masks, I've hit vaccines just a little bit. Y'all, if you're going out, I know you think you're young and you're invulnerable, and that might be the case, although there are young people who are dying. And I'll just tell you, if Greenville County sends everybody back to school, and let's say half the students get infected in Greenville County, and the mortality rate holds up, you're going to see some kids in Greenville County who die from the coronavirus this year. It's just statistical likelihood, okay? So I'm not saying that to scare you. What I'm saying is you have to protect yourself and you've got to protect others. Let's say you get it and you're perfectly healthy, cool, but you take it home and you infect mom or dad, and they infect a coworker who goes home and infects their grandparent, right? I know that this might seem a little much, and I'm happy to take questions and push back and whatnot, but this is what you got to think about, okay? I'll leave you with one question, and I'll probably voice this at some other point in the future, but y'all, here's the thing. So let's say that I'm wrong about all this, okay? You don't need to wear a mask. Your body's going to fight it off. Everything's okay, all right? If I'm wrong about it, but you go out and wear a mask anyway, and I wear a mask anyway, then here's the downside. I look like a dork for a little bit longer. Like, masks aren't cool. I get that. Face shields are less cool. I'm going to wear one into school, so there you go. I look like a dork for a little while longer. Okay. If you don't think that we should wear masks at all, and you're wrong, then you're actively encouraging people to go out and spread a virus that has killed over 100,000 people in the United States. It leaves, sure, it only is at this point killing people immediately in about the 1% range, okay? But there are a lot of people who are left with permanent organ damage, including their lungs, including their livers. There's a lot of concern about brain damage. Older people are especially susceptible, so grandparents, right? This thing's, and it's very effective at spreading. So y'all, if I'm wrong, we look like dorks for a while. If you don't think that we should wear masks, you're actively spreading a virus that is killing people, and we're having a really hard time getting a hold on. So just think about that. And is it okay to look a little bit silly for a little while in order to help others? Yeah, I think it's a good way to love your neighbors, and I would encourage you to do that. Okay? If you have questions, shoot them in the comments below. I love you guys. Hope everything's going well, and I will talk with you soon. Bye.